Thanks, Piers. Thanks ever so much for asking us to come and talk about some of the stuff we do. So we are actual real brothers. We're just in the wrong order. So I'm the cheeky monkey in the middle.
That's Ben in the middle. I've got the stylish cowboy hat on the left. I'm Oscar. And our youngest brother, who's selfishly not here today because he's on honeymoon, is Luke on the right-hand side. I have a company called Studio Oscar, imaginatively titled. I come from a graphic design background, having studied printmaking, screen printing primarily at Leeds University, and most of my own work is two-dimensional flat work.
And I try and run a company called Ben Wilson Design, and I predominantly are 3D based. So my background, I was dreadful at school and crap at anything academic, but I used to like making things with my hands, and I did a degree in a craft background, but I wasn't crazy in the craft area, and then but one thing I was very, very interested in, and I think all three of us are sort of interested in, is kind of the subcultures that we've grown up into, and that's been probably a bigger kind of impact than possibly perhaps education. And I make things basically. I then trained, and I've got I'm an industrial designer and a product designer in kind of my own work. And then our selfish younger brother, who's sunning it up, is an international worldwide DJ who flies playing and making music most of the time. But sometimes, and we're very lucky that we kind of all three of us work together.
He actually is a proper DJ. It's not. That's his job.
So, okay, we've got loads to show you. We were going to try and put some influences together as well, and sort of what makes us tick. But we run a blog. It's basically just a photo stream of my kind of sick obsession of vehicles, and there's some other stuff sometimes on there as well. And you can look at that on our blog, which is wilsonbrothers.co.uk. But we want to really go through some quite quick projects of sort of some stuff that we've been doing, mainly sort of this year, I suppose.
Yeah, the last couple of years.
So this is a project for Puma. It's a really nice open brief to do something, an installation for a flagship store that they were opening in New York, and they sent us in the post a shoebox, and they said do something that's to do with Formula One. So we made this for them.
And there's a prize if you can say which one was which in the process.
For us, often the interesting part is not necessarily the final thing, but it's how we get to where we got to. So, and stupidly, we often kind of propose something that we have absolutely no idea of how, what technology, what materials, how much it will cost, and how long it will take to do. But we always say we're possible, and we will do it. And if any of you want to kind of...
We're available.
Yeah, we're available. I said, I know how we can do this, and Oscar's always going, you're an idiot, you don't know. And I then just go, all right, well, perhaps we'll have a go at this. I went to that big Ferrari shop in Regent Street and bought the cheapest toy possible, and then I 3D scanned it with some sensors, and then we put a mesh over the object and then chopped it up into sort of shoebox dimension sizes, and then from these files we cut the patterns onto replicated boxes. We made a miniature one first because even at this stage we're
just
still
don't know
looking,
whether it's
we're
gonna
looking
work
at
or
each
not.
other and everything kind of when it gets bigger, like, you know, because it fits at this size doesn't mean it's going to fit at that size. So it always works on screen, but it never works in real. And I think one thing that we're really keen on is not really keeping stuff in computers. It's about things that people can touch or see or smell or look at, and that's really important for our stuff. So cut out some bits and pieces, and then we assembled it, and it's used as a sort of installation. Like I said, I think it went to Chicago and did another one in Canada.
But also probably their the value for them, I guess, is really online with the film. So the next project we're going to talk about was for Nike, and it's a space that Nike has in Shoreditch in East London called 1948, which began life as a pop-up store, I think, for 8 weeks during the 2008 Olympics. We had made a hand-built bicycle for Nike, which was displayed in Dover Street Market, and then we were approached, I think, after the initial fit-out for this space, which is 2 railway arches, which had been previously used as a car park. This was the first fit-out, which I think was okay and was, you know, made a little bit of a splash. But the guys at Nike decided to, I think Nike opened something like 7 spaces worldwide. They then decided to keep on this space, and we were brought in to have a look at it for them. So the next thing is again a sort of promotional film that Nike made with an interview with us in it, which kind of explains it better than I can anyway.
We're in 1948 at Nike store in Shoreditch, and we just had a refurb. It's looking brand spanking new, it's looking cool, it's looking edgy, innovative.
My name's Ben Wilson. I'm Oscar Wilson. We've done a full install in this room, which is the retail side of 1948.
What we have here is the light installation, which creates a quite nice, warm and intimate environment. The symbol in the middle is the Nike sportswear, and the E is for East London.
There's also a set of 12 modular units which reference sports stadiums, grandstand seating, so hopefully the environment can change. There's a graphic story on the floor which is actual routes used by Rundem Crew, who are a local urban running club that meet here on a Tuesday.
The way they did the flooring is quite nice because they use recycled rubber and also recycled trainer wear of Nike.
Hello, my name is Elle. You can see me here, right here.
The actual concept is amazing. It's a real installation.
Hey, I'm Neja. I'm the store manager. Had quite a good night tonight, and fingers crossed this is something to move forward on this sort of space being used on a regular basis.
My name is Charlie Dark, and I am the head honcho in charge of the Rundem Crew, based at Bateman's Row, and this is the first time I've seen the new space, and it looks absolutely amazing. First session Tuesday 24th of Feb, and I can't wait. That's a great vibe.
So from our sort of humble beginnings, initial sketches, it's sort of important to point out, I think, that we're not trained as architects or interior designers. It's very much...
We've only made paper cars before that.
Yeah. It's very much just coming up with ideas and concepts for a space that needed to be changed. From the slide, initially you could see that when it was a white space with concrete floor, it was very cold. It seemed very big for a smaller amount of product that Nike wanted to showcase in this, or present in this space. So we painted the space black. We hung a 6 metre by 8 metre neon football pitch from the ceiling, which was another one of those ideas that we sold in, not really knowing how we were going to do it, but managed to get there, which doesn't take away from the volume of the arch, but brings everything in. And again, as the guy said in the video, the floor is recycled rubber. It's I think 90% of the content is from the car industry, so windscreen rubbers, and it's a 10% content from recycled trainers. This was the second phase at 1948, which came about 9-10 months later. We were called in to work on some signage for the outside. We also used a neon, how would you explain it? Sort of.
I'd call it a fake neon. In fact, it's artificial. It's a product designed in Japan. It's a series of thousands of LEDs diffused in a polyurethane coating. But we do something like this, which is sort of like you ring them up and you say, can you do this? And they're like, no. And then we tell people, and one of them's in the audience, yeah, we'll have a go at trying to do it. And then we smash it up and put it through a live test. But I think what's really important to add here is that it's like real-life Tron. That's not Photoshop. And the only reason we get away with doing this is because people, like these clients, let us get away with quite experimental things, and it's still working and it's fine. So it's totally safe and it's waterproof. And yeah, I think this is these are the images of showing new elements that were added to a space. We often talk about the layers of the space, so it's kind of generating as the space goes on, and it's used for different things because it's also not just a retail environment. There's a second arch that is used for exhibitions and for community events. There's a marketplace, for example, that goes on there. Yeah, I think there was more sort of different retail kind of things that they wanted to add to, and this is sort of a hero display unit to show the latest sort of things and the story that they're telling about the latest things that they're showing. This was a series of interactive mirrors that are programmed between a two-way mirror, so when you walk up to them they can give you very little snippet bits of information about what's happening. And I think the main sort of next layer of what we did is something that we one thing that we felt was when you do an environment, it's really difficult to change it, and the way that the internet works now, and it is so quick, and the way that we consume information, that it's just nothing sort of stays for so long. So we thought, how can we make this environment change even more so, but maybe not necessarily rely on digital content, because on projects when we've used it in the past, it's often someone has to supply that content, and sometimes it looks wrong, or actually myself and Oscar have discussed it lots. We actually sometimes don't like this sort of, I don't know, an LED wall that we walk into. Sometimes the virtual reality and the reality is maybe something that we perhaps are not so into.
Also, LED walls have been done millions of times before, and we didn't really have the content to show on it, and we couldn't have afforded to do it anyway. So,
we did a low tech, basically. Let's show another film because it shows. It's called Pixaramic, and it's an idea where basically, depending on what we're doing, we can. So again, something like that, we get involved with everything completely from the original concept to manufacturing of every, 70,000 components that went into making that happen, install it and do a change out, and with the whole project, so laying 15 tons of recycled rubber and shutting down the road and everything, get involved in things that we really shouldn't, but that's another sort of story. But I think it keeps us interested, and as you can see, the space can change. So this one was a specific product launch that they really wanted to show. Obviously, the restrictions of the pixel colours. This one had application of a vinyl, but only on part of it to show a very specific image. This was the latest one that we did for Zoltar, a creative company. Were doing a installation in the second room to do with the World Cup, and we sort of did a new wall for that, and I think we're just about to sort of change it out. So it's something that's really nice because we kind of have a real ownership over it and go in there, and it can change within sort of 24-hour period. We can go in and completely sort of change the environment.
And that's our time, so it'll be quick. This is a new store that's just opened in July in Berwick Street in Soho. It was a collaboration between ourselves and a company called Brinkworth Design, Foot Patrol. It's a listed building. We couldn't touch the front. It's a very strange shaped, I think, nearly 2.75 metres wide by 15 metre long shop, which we kind of got to love in the end, even though it was quite strange at the beginning. Our concept was, because we couldn't change the front, was to actually go with it, keep the heritage of what was there already, and to build a new shop inside, almost a elongated shed, if you like, and between ourselves a sort of connotation of men worldwide hiding themselves in their potting sheds with their collections, in this case sort of rare sneaker wear. So you step in from the street, you step in from the street into a sort of breakaway area and then enter the main space in the shop. So this is the finished project. It was built, again, like most of our projects, on really quite a modest budget, and it was built in using recycled scaffold planks. The display system was actually inspired by a kind of Victorian ladder that we found in the basement, one of those metal ladders that goes up to the old fire exit. And we started looking at library ladders and sliding systems. So again, this is a render, but the idea is a bit like with the Nike space, that you can change the configuration, or if you want to pack it all away for an event, that is doable. And the last thing we wanted to show was another project for Nike.
It's a project that we had super fun getting involved in recently. It's an event that Nike and lots of major brands get involved in sort of worldwide. Then it's the Red campaign. And it's to sort of fight, or try to sort of look into research and fight sort of AIDS in Africa. And we, playing with this sort of new technology and materials, and perhaps but I'd say my obsession with vehicles, we wanted to create a vehicle that had a real presence on the street, and we created this two-man powered pedal car that is completely illuminated in this fake neon, and it's fun, but it kind of has a sort of deeper message, I think. And when you ride around the streets of Shoreditch at night, there was an amazing rally that happened that was, I don't know how it was coordinated, but for a whole week across 5 or 6 different cities, there was 24 hours passing the baton, and we did a 1-hour leg of it, and we created this vehicle that was also sort of showed in an exhibition space for it. So it's kind of, I suppose for us as well, kind of playing with light in the space, it was almost like having this, I suppose a bit like a tender from a boat, something that's sort of connected with the space, but then that can also go out of the space, and it's something for the future of what we're interested in. We're very interested in breaking loopholes in the law, trading where you're not allowed to, doing things that you're not really meant to in traditional retail, architecture, space, or in all other forms of our life as well. So I think that's kind of something that we're sort of experimenting this.
So obviously with the pop-up thing, everyone, it's sort of been done and it's overdone, but I guess an idea of a space that you take with you, and you could have multiple units of these pieces travelling to wherever you need to go and meeting people along the way who want to interact with you.
Thank you ever so much. Hope we didn't bore you too much.